Today we're going to do a corned beef brisket. We're going to go ahead and put this on the top of the stove and add some vegetables to it, and we'll let it cook for about an hour, hour and a half on the stove top, and then cool it down and trim it up and make some delicious corned beef sandwiches when we're finished with that. But first we're going to go ahead and get some of these vegetables that we're going to use. That's going to help us build a stock. Basically we have about a pound of carrots, 3 large sweet Vidalia onions, and about a bunch of some celery. And we're going to prep these vegetables up and incorporate them in the pot. We're going to add the corned beef brisket and some spices, and let's go ahead and get started with the vegetables now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my pot on high heat and get that going really nice and hot. And we're going to warm that up, and we're going to add the carrots first because they take a little longer to cook. I'm going to leave the carrots in pretty good sized pieces instead of cutting them very fine in case we want to pick them out later if you have people who don't like carrots or celery or onions. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 or 4 at a time. There's some peeled baby carrots we went ahead and rinsed off, and cut them in about, 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch pieces. And then maybe put 4 or 5 in a row. And we're going to go ahead and that one try to get away. Just put them in some little manageable pieces. They're going to go ahead and start off the what's going to be a mirepoix, which is going to be about a pound of carrots and maybe a pound and a half of some onions and a bunch of celery. Alrighty, and that was pretty easy. We're going to add a little bit of garlic to this, a few bay leaves, and some pickling spice also. So now the pan's getting warm, we're going to use some of this roasted elephant garlic olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and get them in the pan to start up our vegetables with. It's not quite hot enough yet, but we'll add them in a minute and make sure they're sizzling and that they'll be on their way. We also have some of the celery we're going to be using. We can go and use some of the stuff in the middle, some of the leafy stuff that you don't normally use, or towards the end we'll be able to use some more of the bottom of it because it's going to become a stock. We're not going to really eat it, and it'll make use of some of the parts you don't normally use. It might be a little bitter, but it really shouldn't be very bad. And we're going to cut the celery in about, say 1/2 inch pieces. All the vegetables we pre-washed. All right, that was pretty simple. I use a lot more vegetables than most people use in doing their corned beefs because I believe it brings us more flavor. We love vegetables, and we're going to go ahead and use the stock, the renderings of the beef and the vegetables itself. After this cools down, we're going to have a real nice stock that we're going to use for a soup or some other cooking in the future. All right, so let's go ahead and get the carrots started first. And we go ahead and put those in the pot. I'm using a pot that's a lot bigger than I need to use, but I find it's a lot easier to manage the liquid levels, and it's just easier for me to cook with. A little bit more difficult to clean, but in any event, I'd much rather have something working with me when I'm cooking, and then I'll go ahead and spend a few extra minutes cleaning the bigger pot. We're going to go get a couple of these onions now, and we'll move the celery over to the end of the cutting board for the next rotation in the pot. We're just going to go ahead and peel and cut the ends of the onions, and then we'll peel off the outer skins, and then cut those into some, say, 1/4 to 1/2 inch dices. I'll show you the easiest way for me to cut an onion, and for you likewise, I'm sure. So now that we cut these onions, we're going with some sweet onions. Same with the baby carrots. We have the baby carrots got a little sweetness to them also. That's going to add some nice flavor to the soup.